songs, let me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
The impact and life-changing memories or interactions or development that we create or cause open up this world of possibilities for people makes it really drives me and pushes me. I think everyone who's in the industry or stays in the industry feels something similar in some way. And so, really pushing forward those who outwardly express that interest and keeping them going, because that's what keeps all the other people going when the things get hard.
In a second. Now, here we go. Okay, we are live again. The last show of the year. What a great way to end off 2025 then with our special guest, Eric Henschel. Did I say your last name right? Henschel?
Yes. Yep, you did.
And he's over in the great state of Colorado, who does Parks and Rec on a whole nother level, especially trails and stuff. But
yes.
How's your Christmas go? You had any good Christmas celebrations? Is it snowing over there or what's going on?
It is, much to everyone's dismay, not snowing. The mountains are crippling themselves, slowly waiting for more of a base. It was 65 degrees on Christmas Eve. So, yeah. So that was nice, I guess, depending on who you asked. But no, we had a great Christmas. Went down to visit my parents, and the whole family got together. It was a blast.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay. Well, before we get started, I want to give a big shout out to one of our earliest sponsors, Outdoor Link. And I had for those who don't know, I'm a master electrician by trade and engineer. So when I met Outdoor Link, I actually used their stuff, and they help cities that want to become smart cities and control their entire city on a cell phone. And Outdoor Link can help you do that. So they can help you turn lights and signs and parking lot, baseball field lights, door locks, everything. And they are also one of the biggest supporters of our show and want to see a great media company for the industry of Parks and Rec. So appreciate all the help that they're giving us. If you would like to know more about them, reach out to me on LinkedIn and I can connect you depending on where you are with the right sales rep that they have. And then my next promotion is going to be about how other strategic partners can help us build this thing. We couldn't have done everything we're doing right now without the help of our strategic partners. So I'll play these two promos, and then we'll come back and start our conversation with Eric.
In today's parks and recreation industry, communication, safety, and efficiency go hand in hand. That's where Outdoor Link comes in, delivering smart technology that empowers city departments and community planners to do more, smarter. Outdoor Link's platform connects and automates everything that keeps your parks running smoothly, from lighting and locks to signage, water features, Wi-Fi, and digital advertising. Control and schedule park lights for safety and energy savings. Remotely manage facility access. Update digital displays in real time. Coordinate fountains and splash pads. Provide public connectivity. And even run community or sponsorship campaigns on digital screens. All from one simple, unified platform, giving you real-time control, data, and cost efficiency. For parks and recreation agencies, that means safer spaces, smarter resource use, faster responses, and stronger community engagement. And behind every great park story is great infrastructure. That's why Outdoor Link proudly supports DPRS Media Company, helping the Daily Parks and Rec Show amplify the voices of professionals shaping our communities every day. Outdoor Link, smart, connected solutions for parks, recreation, and beyond.
Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co., we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co. puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product, growing your presence in public spaces, targeting cities, counties, or departments, DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion Parks and Rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move Parks and Rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.
All right. My show mascot came to visit me.
Nice.
This is her.
Oh my gosh.
She usually sits at my feet. She's attended most shows.
That's awesome.
All right. So let's talk about, God, where do we start? Actually, let's kick it off with YPN. Normally I would save this kind of to the end, but you are the incoming chair. So what kind of responsibilities does that have, and what kind of maybe just describe what is at a base level, what's the mission of the Young Professionals Network?
Yeah, it's a good question. So for me, the mission of the Young Professionals Network is really just to build a place in a community where those who are new and looking to expand in Parks and Recreation can come to learn, to meet other people, and just like engage with the new folks, even the folks who are studying to like enter the field. And part of that too is really just championing. There we go. Forward the people who we think are going to be doing amazing things. And so, what I get to do with that is I have a whole team. So it's, not just me, but I got to pick a whole team to help do all the stuff. So we've got marketing team. We've got a team that does like a whole other less formal meeting that we're doing. And those like registrations are gonna be coming up soon. And so, yeah, YPN it's amazing. I love it. I built a really great connection of a network of people. The first time I went to NRPA, I met all the YPN people, got engaged. And then through that, I've just seen like the massive impact and help that it's had, and the connections that it's made for me. And also like what it can do to push forward those who are doing incredible things out there, because I can do all that I can do, and we all only have so much time in the day, but sometimes you just find those people where somehow it feels like they stretch time longer than everybody else.
Yeah.
And so, my mission with it is to find those people and put them in front of everybody that they possibly can get in front of, to like share their story and do their thing, and just help grow this awesome industry that I'm in.
Now, when did you discover YPN? How long ago?
Yeah. I went in 2021. I went to the national conference, and my boss at the time was like, "Hey, there's this group that you should join. It's the Young Professionals Network. That's you. We'll go out and like meet them before we start the whole conference and see how it is." And so I like joined into the group me that they had made for the actual conference itself to talk about things. And we all met up at a bar and just started hanging out and talking. And yeah, that's how I got involved. The first person I met was Molly, who was, my chair while I was the chair elect. And so I've now taken over from that. And so it's been a really cool experience to be brought into the world and invited with open arms. So
now, what inspired you to, or did they ask for volunteers and everybody took a step back and you weren't paying attention, or did you volunteer for this role, or what inspired you to take the chair?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's twofold. The first one that I think a lot of people recognize about me is sometimes I'm just a glutton for punishment.
Yeah.
So the more things I can toss onto my plate, the better. And then the second one is, I think I got a ton from the Young Professionals Network, and I wanted to help ensure that we can continue that forward, and do like those amazing things, and bring in those amazing people, and really encourage our young professionals to keep going in the industry and keep changing it, because we're the ones who are bringing in some, really cool new ideas, and, making sure that we're not staying stagnant, because with how much things are changing constantly, we are really trying to bring in new ways of working. And sometimes it's not always easy to get those in, but the more people we can get in and prove that things work, the better we can, make the industry and the experience for everybody who participates in Parks and Rec.
Yeah, and I think youth have a big advantage over the older crowd because they kind of grew up in constant change, with the advent of AI and technology and the internet and apps and all the social media platforms. It's like it's new to us. It's like all y'all have ever known. I don't think y'all kind of grew up in that world. So how does that kind of help y'all?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think it helps us a ton because I think, like you said, we're also quick to adopt other things and even give them a try and see if they don't work. A really good example is I remember last year at the Colorado conference, I went to go listen to a manufacturer who does robot mowers. And it was very interesting because it was like a couple young people and then all of these like senior directors. And you could tell that the younger folks were like excited and knew that this was going places. And the senior directors had so many skeptical questions, understandably so, right? They have all that extra like layers of experience that we didn't necessarily have. But it gives us the opportunity to say, quickly, like that's where we think we're going to go, or that's where we should go. And what can we do with it? And so I think that gives us just the advantage of like we can jump onto it quicker because we also don't necessarily have some of the like, oh, but what about this? Or, oh, what about that? Which is helpful at times and at other times, sometimes helpful to not have in your way. So,
yeah. Yeah. And I think if you go all the way back in the history of disruptive things or technology, whether it be, when we discovered fire or electricity or going from the horse to the car, there was always the people that said, "Oh, this is dangerous. It's never going to work," and there's always pushback. So I think that's very natural that when you have massive change, which technology and AI introduces massive ways of change, and it's just fear of the unknown. And so if you're kind of coming from a place, well, I really don't know anything else, so this is just as known as as the old stuff, it really does give you an advantage because you don't have all of this habits formed around the older way. And so you're much more open to it. That's why I love working with young people. They're just so adaptive. Maybe we should all stay kind of childlike. We can all learn from the young professionals. What are some of the new things like similar to robotics? Have y'all started to use any of the robotic mowers at your department?
Yeah, that's a good question. We haven't used any robotic mowers. For us, the biggest hurdle is just price at this point in time. But we do have a robot painter, which is fantastic. So we have a turf tank. Shout out to Turf Tank. They're awesome. But yeah, we've got a robot painter and, in investigating the other opportunities that are popping up there. I was talking to a colleague in Aurora, and they were looking at like a full set of GPS like operated features, essentially taking like what farmers can do now where their tractors have nobody sitting in it to, work the fields for 30 hours, nonstop. They were looking at doing that for some sort of UTV that can change out between like mowing or blowing off, surfaces, that kind of stuff. And so those types of things are exciting to me, and like watching those demos, and then you see a price tag, you get scared. But if you can work your way towards it, it seems like it's where we're going to have to go. We're trying to always do more with less people. And so that's just kind of how it's going to have to shake out. And, being able to take the people to focus back on the little things that the robots can't do yet and take them away from, we don't need to sit on a mower that spans 12 feet wide when we could just have somebody string trimming, faster. So,
yeah. And I've seen price ranges from 90,000 for a lawnmower to like 5,000 for a lawnmower. And I think it's going to go the way of like the flat screen TV, where it was like $10,000 for a 50-inch, and now at Walmart you can get them for $340 for a 75-inch flat screen TV. And you're starting to see those little, what do they call those? Is it a Roomba? Those vacuum things for your home? Yeah, they're like a few $100. So all this technology is just getting cheaper and cheaper and more as the economies of scale kicks in. So
yes, mind-boggling cheaper.
What kind of price tags were y'all seeing? roughly?
Oh gosh, one of the ones that I looked at was for like the fully autonomous robot was like $220,000.
Golly.
And that's, yeah, I mean, that was like setup and purchase of the whole thing and all that kind of stuff. But I think part of that too comes with, it's still a really new technology for them, and the amount of research and development they had to do for it to be able to identify, a ball rolling at it or a child coming to investigate what's happening, and, a dog on the loose running up to it and all those things and how it reacts. So it all made sense. And, it's not something that shocks me. When you have something new, it's always super expensive. And so it's just more of the, I get it, but I'm not the only person that I have to get on board to get something like that. So
We'll have to connect y'all with. So I found a couple that would, because I've always been interested in that. When I was kind of semi in retirement, I kind of dove deep into the robotics side of the world just as an investor. And there's actually some out there that are like $10,000, $12,000. And it's amazing how quickly they're iterating to include like a little edger and a blower and a weed eater attachment and that kind of stuff. Because, we think all they can do is cut the grass. They can't do the trim work. And I'm like, give it time.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. We're getting there for sure. Yeah. We then looked at another one, like much, much smaller scale. This was like I think it was a 6-foot deck. So a really, really big mower.
Yeah.
The like smaller scale, we just switched over by mandate from the state of Colorado to electric equipment. And the manufacturer that we chose has a robot mower, and it's about the size of a Roomba, a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
It's something I'm hunting after for sure. It's cool.
Yeah. You're going to see like a little swarm of these things cutting at night.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
It's like little magic elves cut the grass at night, and grass is always cut. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's always cut. Yeah, I don't know what you guys are talking about. This grass is never taller than 3.5 inches. Yeah, it's funny. I think too, like moving it in even to indoor spaces, right? Like I was in a gas station the other day, and a robot was mopping the whole floor, and it was just like, it would stop when I walked by because it knew a human was there, and it was like going back into its little docking station when I was leaving. And all I could think to myself was like, we're going to have these in all of our rec centers here shortly, and it's just always going to be clean. And then how fast are we going to get to the point where it sees a spill, right? Like somebody dropped something and the robot just goes, all right, my job is coming, here I come. So
if there's so many cool videos in Japan and in China that, I mean, they just use robots for every single thing. And it's crazy how they have these robots that'll completely clean a bathroom. Yep. And it just kind of puts itself back in the closet and then comes out and just keep going back in. So the bathroom's always pristine.
Yeah.
It's going to be so exciting to see that, because Parks and Rec is always struggling to have, not enough man hours, not enough funding. And this can really help, expand that budget.
Yeah. A big thing that we're working through as well is ensuring that we're not replacing somebody with it. We're just being able to do what we're being asked to do at a more like efficient and honestly like cost-effective way.
Yeah.
When we had got our robot, we heard the warnings of like, oh, well, now you're just replacing a person and all those. And it's like, well, we didn't replace anybody. Actually, what we did was, now they can go on to the other stuff that have been either on fire or burning or whatever it is. So I think that's a tricky part for the Parks and Rec agency specifically is, you kind of expect somebody like, manufacturers of cars and whatnot to do that and adopt that and replace workers. But it's really hard to look at your government and be like, you're getting rid of people.
Yeah, it's always going to be a tough challenge there, but it's kind of like, you have a responsibility to spend your money as most efficiently as possible. And the great thing about Parks and Rec is there's an unlimited amount of ideas that you could have if you had the money, if you had the funding. And so it's like, you don't need necessarily cut staff. You can provide twice as many services for your community.
Exactly. Like there's still open green space that we're not playing some sort of sport or we're not doing random stuff, right? Like we could just pivot a person to plan what we're going to do with that space now. So
or just more special events.
Yep.
I mean, you can do special events till the end of time.
Exactly. Every day, come out for something else. Yeah.
Just come over to New Orleans and you'll see how we do nonstop special events 365 days a year. And it's there's a lot of cities out there that a big chunk of what they do is just special events. And then a lot of the programs they offer where they're actually working with the people. And I think that's where a lot of people are going to start shifting in Parks and Rec to doing human to human interaction.
Yep.
and let the robots do like the grunt work, the heavy
Yep.
lifting, so that we can, nurture the community.
Exactly.
Okay, so oh, by the way, shout out to Molly Keys and Gabby Vera. They were the ones that introduced me to YPN. I'm sure you've met. Have you met Gabby?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Gabby's awesome.
Yeah, she's like an all-star over there.
She is.
All right, so what is your role? Like, what do you do with YPN as the chair? Like, what are your responsibilities? How many hours do you think you'll put into this a year? Just trying to understand the role. In case
Yeah.
there's anyone else out there that wants to volunteer after you.
It's a solid question. It's so it's a pretty big lift at the turnover from the last to the like new chair. So it turns over every year at NRPA. So I at NRPA this year I led a like brainstorming session, or tried to lead a brainstorming session. I ended up having a voice thing, and so Molly helped me, but led a brainstorming session to talk about what we were going to like what education sessions and what speakers and stuff people wanted to see at our monthly meetings this year. And then before NRPA, I got access to see everybody who'd applied for a leadership position within Young Professional Network, and was able to like kind of pick my team, confirm with all of them if they were still open and willing to do it. If you pick a great team, I would say the work is a lot easier because it can be, expanded across everybody. But what we start to see frequently is sometimes, the leadership we all get busy, especially as the summer and camps and all those things roll around. And so sometimes it's just, reminding people like, hey, do you have time to do this? If not, is there somebody else who can help and step in with, whatever the task was, whether it's creating the marketing or sending the marketing emails, or we've got a group that like reaches out to all the state associations if they have one to send, our message and our newsletter and all those types of things out. And so I think hours wise, it's not a like extremely high lift if you set yourself up for success early. But if you kind of let yourself get behind, you're digging a hole for the entire year. So we have most of our speakers confirmed. All of our topics are set. All of our graphics are just like quickly editable to reference the new one. So even if we get behind, it's, a 5-10 minute edit to get the graphic ready for that month, all those things. So I think my lift is really just checking in with people and seeing if they need anything. And then, helping to make sure that I'm identifying the places where YPN can grow or expand. Like we don't have a LinkedIn page currently. And so that's something that I'm actually going to create today. It's on my agenda for this afternoon. And so, those types of things of just how I can help grow the network and expand and really champion the people that are helping me keep the network going.
Yeah. Well, let me know when you get that LinkedIn page set up and I'll blast it out on our LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
Our LinkedIn page is kind of blown up recently. We just crushed the 2,000 mark, and now I think we're pushing up to 2,200.
Wow.
But yeah, I'd love to get the word out about the Young Professionals Network, especially with our 2 new interns. I don't know, have you connected with them at all, the Michael and Abe?
Yeah, briefly, just on messages. Yeah, I just messaged them on LinkedIn, but yeah, they seem awesome. They've been on top of their messaging and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and back to the point about how adaptive they are. I showed them our software stack in one lesson, and they were like, "We got this." And then I had to miss the next show, and I was like, "Do y'all need me to run the backstage?" They're like, "No, we got it." And
Nice.
they just ran it flawlessly. It's just they just learn so quick. So
Yeah.
shout out to all those college kids and how tech savvy they are.
Yes.
So what are some of the topics that you found that might have changed from, what Molly was doing, and what are some of the kind of evolution of topics and stuff that you think the YPN would want to hear?
Ooh, that's a solid question. I think a big area that actually seems to come up every year and be expanded on is like staffing and staff appreciation, like hiring, kind of in those worlds. How do you get and retain really good staff? How do you prepare yourself to make sure that they feel welcomed and like heard and all of those things where they're at? Because especially for a lot of Parks and Rec agencies, right? Like their largest staffing numbers come from people who are part-time and if they're lucky, come back, or, frequently only work for 6 months. And so part of it is like, how do you make them feel like it was important that they were working there? How do you balance the area of, hey, I know that there's an endpoint for your job, but keep pushing for us, keep doing all these things. How do you get lifeguards? That's always a concern that people have. And so I think that's a really big one. And then other places that I feel like it's really growing in is the young professionals are starting to make it more broadly known that they need to understand like the political climate of where they work, and also the networking side. I think for a while those ideas were kind of missed, but now that's a topic that they're asking for, is like, how can I push my idea that I have forward, and get it past my manager or my director or my supervisor even, and like get it up through what it is, and where can I learn what it's like dealing with the board, because I don't have immediate access to the board. A lot of young professionals are hoping to go in that direction, and sometimes you just don't get any of that information, especially if your supervisor or your director can't like bring you up into those conversations if you're at a really large organization or whatever it might be. And so they're seeking out other people who have that experience, people like Molly and Gabby, who have that, direct interaction with executive leadership or board members who can like kind of convey down the lessons they've learned the hard way or the easy way. So, yeah.
So when you talk about putting your team together, what are some things you look for as far as qualities in a good team member?
Yeah, that's a really solid question. I stand on the edge of like, you can train a lot of what people need to know, especially for seasonal staff, but what you can't train is like who they are at their core. And so when I'm in interviews, I'm a really like outside of interviews, I'm a really talkative person and I'm really engaging. And when I'm in interviews and like talking, I try really hard not to influence where things are going. I still want to put off, my personality and who I am. But I want that person to kind of like showcase who they are the most to us. And so I like to add in, interesting questions that can say a lot about a person, but maybe you don't know what they're asking. Like a really solid question I remember that I was asked was like, if you could be any character from a TV show, who would you be? And like a question like that feels so silly sometimes when you're in an interview, but the way you answer it says so much, or could say so much about who you are. And so, things like that are what I try and bring in, because that's going to tell me a whole lot more than if I say like, hey, have you ever used a mower? I can show you how to use a mower. I'm going to have to train you anyway, because I don't know what the last person who trained you did or what their safety practices were. So like, I'm going to retrain that. I don't need to necessarily know 100% if you know that, but I need to know if, you work well on our team, if you like to joke around with like the rest of my colleagues do and that kind of stuff, because that'll make you feel more like you belong here, and will give, everybody around just more encouragement that we're hiring the right people.
Yeah. All right. So if you had to pick a cartoon character, who would you be and why?
Ooh, a cartoon character. That's a tough one. My go-to is it's not a cartoon character, but it's a like a TV show character. And I think who I want to be. I don't know that I'm there, and I don't think anybody can be there, but Ted Lasso is like, that's my gold standard of who I'd want to be.
Who is that? I'm not familiar with that character.
So Ted Lasso is, you should definitely watch it. It's on Apple TV. But it's about this American football coach who's only coached like a D2 college team, and he goes and coaches a Premier League team in England. And so it's hilarious. He's an amazing like coach and mentor and leader, and is like going through hard things in his life, and just like the way he navigates it, learns a lot. And as soon as the show came out, like books were written about like how to coach like Ted Lasso and the Ted Lasso way and all these things. So I would definitely watch it. It's hilarious to start, which is super helpful. But they tackle a lot of like life issues in a really cool way. Yeah.
What's the name of the show?
Ted Lasso is the name of the show.
Its name is Ted Lasso. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Okay. So let's go back to actually, we're almost at the halfway point. So let me go ahead and play the promo so that I don't start a whole new conversation right in the middle of it.
Okay.
So we're really working hard to create a facilities maintenance show. It's Monday through Thursday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. So if you're a superintendent or a groundskeeper or a master arborist, those are the type of people we're looking at getting on the show to talk about how to maintain all the things in Parks and Rec, which is just a huge, broad um, range of skills and stuff. So I'll play a little promo for that one. And then, of course, I'm going to promote our Young Professionals Network show, which is moved to Thursday at 5 p.m. And so we'll play those two, and then we'll come back and finish up our conversation with Eric.
Behind every thriving park, every safe playground, every event-ready field, there's a team working before sunrise and long after sunset. This is Facility Maintenance, the only show created for and by the unsung heroes of Parks and Recreation. Brought to you by DPRS Media Co., where real work gets real recognition. From restrooms to rec centers, HVAC to turf tech, we go beyond the job site into the heart of operations that keep our communities moving. Our mission? To elevate maintenance teams through stories, solutions, and shared experience. Our vision? A world where every facility crew is seen, valued, and fully supported. Each episode features operators, innovators, and leaders, sharing tools, tech, and tactics that make the impossible look easy. Facility maintenance isn't just a job, it's purpose, it's passion, and now it's a show. Facility Maintenance, where tools meet purpose, where work becomes legacy. On the Daily Parks and Rec Show, we bring you the real stories of tomorrow's professionals, people shaping the future, one idea at a time. Meet the very first DPRS interns to officially host their own segment, Aidan Tierney and Michael Morrow. With curiosity, passion, and a fresh perspective, they're stepping into the spotlight to lead meaningful conversations with today's rising leaders. The Young Professionals Network takes you inside the journeys, challenges, and major wins of young individuals making their mark across industries. From first jobs to bold ventures, every story fuels growth, ambition, and innovation. Each episode brings real conversations, fresh perspectives, and impactful insights created to motivate the next generation of professionals. Whether you're just starting out, exploring new paths, or figuring out your next move. Tune in to the Young Professionals Network every Thursday at 5 p.m. only on the Daily Parks and Rec Show. Don't miss it, because your next big idea might be one story away.
All right. So I wanted to get a little bit into your background, kind of how you got into this, but maybe talk about who you were in high school and college and how you discovered Parks and Rec. Did you grow up in Parks and Rec, or did you kind of discover it later in life, or how did you get into this field?
Yeah, I kind of discovered it. So I went to school. I've been local to Colorado my whole life. I went to school in a Denver suburb called Parker. I played sports all the way through, lettered in everything. So athletics is really where my passion and stuff was. And through that, I started refereeing. So I refereed soccer. I've been a certified soccer official since 2011, I think. And if nobody's ever been a soccer official, do it just for one game. I promise you'll never yell at another one again in your life. So that was kind of my introduction to working into the sports world. And through that, I worked for, a couple municipalities without really kind of knowing it. I just would show up and referee whatever game I was at.
Can we talk about that for a minute? Because I know a lot of people say it, but tell us what it's like to be a referee on a soccer field. What are like some of the struggles? Like, do you ever miss a call, or what's the pressures, or what's it like to step on the field for the first time refereeing?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's so interesting. Yeah. So the first time is definitely a whole other world. If you don't have somebody there to support you, I would say that's a whole different level. So the place that I worked did really, really well. Like who I got certified through and like kind of worked through did outside of just the state. There's, other organizations that helped. But they did a good job of putting a mentor at most new people's sites, if possible, whenever possible. And so I learned from this amazing guy. His name's John. And he really helped me through my first game. I started as a sideline, so I had the, flag and was doing all that stuff and learned a lot about that. But then I did not have a mentor when I did my first game in the middle, holding the whistle, and I didn't have any support. So there were no ARs. It was too young of a game, all those types of things. And the first half I went over by like 7.5 minutes because I just forgot to look at my watch. And a goal was scored. So it was like all these contentious things.
No.
Oh boy, like you just don't realize how much you get yelled at, and the kids are like 11, and it's just not, it's really, it's important for the kids to like have fun, but the outcome of the game isn't going to change anything in, life
right
at that point in time. And so it was definitely a rude awakening for me right away, to have such a like problematic start. But I learned quickly from it. So I'm a pretty resilient person. And I kind of grew up in a place where a lot of like teasing and sass was normal. And so a lot of times when I would hear things, I started to learn like coaches and even some parents don't know how to react when a youth official turns around and kind of gives some of that nudge back to them. And so my brother took it to a whole nother level. Like the things I heard him say on the field, I was like, any other job, we would all be fired.
Right.
So yeah, it was, it's an interesting world though. Like the amount of things I've seen, and now, I help coach like young referees and stuff. I've done all of that stuff. And, it's a great learning location, but also it's really tough because there's not a lot of places that you go where every single move you make can be scrutinized. And there's also other places where there's so many opportunities for something to go or to be so subjective, right? Like I could see something completely differently than the entire sideline because I had a different angle. And so it's a spreadsheet is a spreadsheet, right? When you're like at work, but a foul to somebody is not a foul to somebody else in soccer. And so, it's, people have left fields crying. Oh, I've seen there's so many stories of, fights and police and all the things that are kind of shocking for somebody. I think I was 14 or 15 when I first started refereeing. And so, I was always tall. Like I'm a pretty tall person. And so I got thrown into older matches earlier. So I think that just kind of escalated, my experience, but also the things that I got exposed to that young. So, yeah.
Well, let me ask a question for all the parents out there. Are you blind?
Yes. I happily will tell people there are definitely days where I'm blind, for sure. Absolutely.
Oh man, I remember on the field some of those parents just go nuts and they just give that referee hell.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's great. I had one game where they were 16-year-olds. I remember it very well, and I was letting them play. So like it was a pretty rough game, but they all were like giving it back to each other, and the players didn't seem to be complaining very much. And then at one point, one parent yelled, he's like, "You got to call something." And then all the, like, what parents don't realize is when they say something, everybody else follows suit. Like that's the escalation point.
Mom mentality.
Yeah. And so like now all the players are nitpicking at everything. And so I stopped like in the middle of the game after I called a foul. And I was like, "Do y'all want me to call everything?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay." And I couldn't, like, the whistle was always in my mouth for the rest of the game. And then they all started saying something about it, and I turned and I yelled at the whole sideline. I was like, "You all wanted me to call everything," and I didn't hear a peep. I didn't hear a peep for the rest of the game after that.
Oh man, what a great way to learn, man. That is a master class.
Yes.
Classroom. That is amazing.
Yeah.
And you started when you were 14 refereeing?
Yeah. I started when I was 14. Yep. And I did my first like adult game when I was 15, I want to say. So yeah, I got tossed into it quick, and adults are oof. We usually wait a long time to put a referee in an adult game, so that was pretty rare.
So now we know where your real leadership training skills came from.
Yes. Yes. Rallying 40-year-olds who act, I can't even say they act like children, because children have more reasoning than a 40-year-old adult on a soccer field for some reason.
Right. Now I wrote down you have a degree in psychology. Did you graduate in psychology?
I did. Yeah. I graduated with a degree in psychology from Colorado State University in Fort Collins. And
Is that because of your referee experience? You were like, I need to get a degree in psychology.
yeah, no, psychology's always interested me. And it's paid dividends like in everything that I'm doing. But yeah, it's really funny because it's one of those ones where I got it and everyone's like, well, you don't use your degree. It's like, well, I use my degree every single day.
I bet.
And in everything that I do. But yeah, it's very much so interested me. What didn't interest me was going to, potentially 8 more years of school to do something like research and based on that. But yeah, I do love it. And I love like listening and hearing and talking to psychologists and people that study, the way people interact and brains and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So looking at Parks and Rec through the lens of psychology, it's almost like you've got night vision on the battlefield when you have a degree in psychology. How do you look at Parks and Rec and just leaders and running a community and building community when you have this psychology background?
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think for me, the biggest thing that I try and do is like kind of predict what we're doing or what decision we're making. And coming at it from like a, not just personal for sure, but also research based of, what people think or why they might start thinking that. And I think what that helps me and our department to do is sometimes get ahead in terms of communication for things, kind of being able to predict like, well, people perceive, financial changes this way, even though, we need to make the increase and we're still making more of a loss than we are, talking about the increase or whatever it might be. Like, here's how people are going to react to that. Or, when we get the angry contractor or coach or something that calls in, I have the like knowledge and understanding to write that email that is just kind of so long and has so many like pieces of information in it that they all just kind of sit down and it's no longer an issue. So it definitely helps with that. But in terms of, working it into like staff and all those things, my favorite like field that I did while I was there was positive psychology. And that's like a newer field in terms of trying to learn like what positive things we can do with research in psychology rather than focusing on like all of the disorders that you hear about in the DSM-5 and all of those things. And so like utilizing that and finding ways to, keep our team motivated and finding things that do motivate people. Cause sometimes you have to hire somebody that you didn't have another choice because you don't have a ton of applicants for a seasonal position. And now you have to find out what motivates them because it's not the money that you're paying them because we don't have a ton of that. Right. And it's not, they don't care about how fast the batting cage machine is working and all of those things. So like, what is the ground that you can meet them with? And I think it's just having those conversations and meeting those people. Yeah. Like where they're at. So
you used the term DSM-5. I've never heard of that before. What does that mean?
Yeah. That's the Diagnostics and Statistics Manual for psychology. Like that's what a psychologist would use and reference when diagnosing somebody with some sort of like mental disorder or, it goes like super broad and then all the way down to like really tight confinement. So like they have requirements for depression or like schizophrenia. All those things are outlined in the DSM-5. Yeah.
So what mental disorder do parents get when they step on the soccer field?
I don't think that one's diagnosable. I think that's just all brains disappear at that point.
Right. Yep. Okay. So let's go into your why. You had mentioned it is to empower and embolden this industry. Where did that come from and why does that motivate you?
Yeah, it's a really good question. It came from kind of how I found my way into this industry. When I graduated college, I worked for a really large company and didn't feel like I was making hardly much of an impact. Like I didn't feel passionate about the work I was doing. That really pointed me to that. Like I need to care about what I'm doing and what I'm doing. I need to see a direct impact from what it is. And so that like encouraged me to go back into the sports world. Then COVID hit and sports weren't happening. And I had a friend who worked for a municipality and was like, "Hey, have you thought about Parks and Recreation?" And I said, "No, I barely realized, that there were people working behind the scenes, that kind of thing." And so, looked more into it and applied, got the job. And now that I'm here, it's the impact and like life-changing memories or interactions or development that we create or cause or like can open up like this world of possibilities for people makes it really like drives me and pushes me. And I think everyone who's in the industry or stays in the industry feels something similar in some way. And so, really pushing forward those who outwardly express that interest and keeping them going, because that's what keeps all the other people going when the things get hard. We all work somewhere between 35 to 70 hours a week sometimes when things get hectic. And so you really, you got to remember why you're doing it, because you don't just work 70 hours. We don't do it for the money. I promise you that we don't do it for the money. So,
yeah. And, even though I know a lot of the industries, I guess their default response is we don't do it for the money, but I've never seen an industry that just encourages promotion and certification and skill acquisition at a scale where other industries almost like hold you back. This industry is like pushing you forward. So you might not make a lot coming in, but you can ascend so quickly because this industry is so helpful with training and certifying its people, giving them leadership opportunities. Maybe speak a little bit about the leadership opportunities that you found in Parks and Rec.
Yeah, that's a solid thought. I think so. For me, the biggest leadership opportunities that I've witnessed actually came from like starting with Young Professionals Network. That really got me tied into NRPA and then understanding what, the state associations are, how those all factor in. And then, for me and my, advice to most people is like, pick what you want to do, right? Being a director is not for everybody. It's a really hard job. It's super political, like way more political than people think. Yeah, the people there have tons of experience, but they're also really good at navigating, what to say in what moment. They're really good at navigating opposite ends of the spectrum, whether it's left or right or, up or down, however people feel. Like directors have to be very cognizant of those things and what they're saying. And that's not for everybody. Some people don't want to have all of the weight of a decision fall on their shoulders. They'd rather collaborate and work with people and, sometimes take direction and those types of things. But when you do, then just like, pick a path and do what you can to get there. If your organization offers some sort of certification or even just a benefit that's not directly in your department, like my town, we're fortunate enough that they offer us reimbursement for classes. And there's like a caveat in there that says, if I want something that is like matches my job description, I can get certified in that. So for instance, I could go out and get a project management certification because project management is like outlined in my job description as something that I could have to do. And as long as I pass the test, right, my town would help fund that. And that's completely outside of the professional development that my department offers specifically. And then find out the like lane that you're super passionate about. I love sports and athletics. I'm learning a lot more about the parks side of things and how it interacts. But also I understand that my super deep passion is the like sports and athletics and the impact that can have. And so like those are the certifications. I'm working on the certifications for the places that I'm passionate about, but also not passionate about, because then that shows that I still care enough to look at that. So yeah, like I've got an aquatics operator certification. We don't have a pool specifically, but I wanted to get that to be able to manage our splash pad and to like help on the parks operation side, because that's a big part of my job as well. So
yes, and we haven't even spoken about what you actually. So what is your real job in Parks and Recreation? What's your title, and what do you do day to day?
Yeah, so my actual title is operations supervisor for the whole department, so over parks and recreation. And so the thing that I like to say is where a lot of, I think, organizations struggle is getting the Parks and Recreation, like different sides to communicate. And like, I am currently the like solid bridge between both our parks team and our rec team, and making sure that, you know, a ball between the two doesn't get dropped is really my responsibility. And then I'm the direct support for my director here. And so, you know, whatever tasks get passed down oftentimes funnel through him to me, and then out from there. So yeah, day to day is I'm the all and catch all, and we don't know whose job this is. So it falls down on Eric, and we'll get it figured out.
All right. So I have a question for you left by our previous guest. It's kind of a tradition that we have.
Okay.
Actually, I'd like to ask you, I don't know if have you heard of this event coming up? It's called the World Cup.
No.
Are y'all doing anything for your city in preparation for this thing hitting the country?
We actually haven't talked about it. We haven't done any preparation for it here. So no, that Colorado tried really hard to host. But
I
that
know, I
didn't
can't
pan
believe
out so
Denver
well.
missed it. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's hard. It's you know, it makes sense. Kansas City's got really large stadiums really close to each other, and we only have one stadium that could hold a World Cup crowd. So it made a little bit of sense, but yeah.
Well, that's who I had on the show. I had Tina Spano, and she's over that whole, I mean, it's coming to her city. And then yesterday I talked to, who was it? Oh, shoot. Donnie over in Houston. And so he's like a suburb of Houston, and that's another host city.
Yes.
Man, it's like, and actually he told me yesterday, so this is actually the question that he left you was, what is a detail that you are really excited about for the 250th anniversary of our country? Because they are actually celebrating the World Cup game is being played on the same day as as like July 6th, or the celebration of it. So they've got these two massive events happening on the same time. It's just like overwhelming the Houston area. But do y'all have any plans to celebrate that as a city?
Yeah. So we actually put on a really great 4th of July show here. And so the Parks and Rec team always puts on like a massive place for all the like youth and kids to come and play. That's the part that we focused on. We, you know, usually we do a parade, all those things. This year, our whole downtown is getting revamped. And so our main street where we do our parades is going to be a hole. So we've moved the parade this year. We think we've secured and locked down a new location. And so, we've got a big, parade plan that goes into like all of the downtown stuff. And we do like a farmer's market type of situation where, you know, a bunch of vendors come, and then we put on, basically just a giant, 4-hour carnival as the Parks and Rec team that we set up for. So I like to call it my like best. We'll use the World Cup, but I usually use Super Bowl. But like that's our World Cup for the year, is the 4th of July in terms of like events. But usually I say it's like our Super Bowl. So it's kind of our do everything we possibly can. And so special things up our sleeve, not yet, but I think we'll get there.
Yeah.
For sure.
Now, do y'all have a farmer's market throughout the rest? By the way, I'm a big fan of farmer's markets. It's where I get all my stuff from. So do y'all do something throughout the year, and then y'all just included in that event?
Yeah. So we're included in the farmer's market. It's run by our Main Streets program in Wellington. They use our downtown park. That's actually right outside of our office. And they run it every Friday for like 3 months or something. So it's pretty big. Maybe it's 2 months. But it's pretty big. It's nice. We've got really cool vendors, and because the county that we're in is a right to farm community, a lot of times you can find, fresh produce and all those things at our local farmer markets, which is great. Yeah.
I'm a big, carnivore, and I actually know the cattle rancher that raises the cows, and he's got his little booth, and I'm just like a regular, and I'm always promoting his stuff. But
My wife and I do the same thing. Yeah, we stop in. We're like, "Hey, how you doing?" You know,
Yeah.
or we're getting another cow next year. We'll see you soon. Yeah.
Right. Right. But I mean, farmers markets are so good and often run inside or at least in collaboration with the Parks and Rec department. Um, Give a pitch for the farmers market. Why should you have a farmers market? And then what kind of things do you see, or why should you attend a farmers market?
Yeah, that's really good. So my pitch would just be, like farmers markets are a great place to get all of your food usually if you need it for the week. You get to support a local business, which is amazing. And then the big thing, so our library director actually started like encouraging children to make booths. So we had one, yeah, he started and now it's carried on. So a lot of our booths are actually managed or attempted to be managed by kids. And so they like do something fun. We've got like a kids ice cream thing that pops up all the time. And this little girl makes all of the ice cream and it's delicious. And so like, it's just a really cool way to come out and see like the cool things that are going on in your community. And for me, it really like solidifies and cements, that you're in a place with really cool people who have really cool ideas and are doing really cool things. And it makes you feel more encouraged about where you are and where you live, and who could dislike that,
Yeah. And ours will have, so we have a farmer's market almost, I think 3 or 4 days a week here in New Orleans, but then once a month they have like the artists come out. You'll have something like that where the artists will come out and sell all their crafts and stuff that they make.
So they are included in our farmers market. Since our town is so small, it's really hard to like get that many people in separate events. So we try and bundle them all into one. But yeah, we've got quite a few artists that come out to our farmers market as well.
Oh, good deal.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go ahead and wrap up the show with YPN. What's kind of maybe give a sales pitch for YPN, why you should join. First of all, how many members are there in YPN this coming year?
Yeah, it fluctuates. So our leadership team is, I think, 11 people, 12 people. And then our email list right now, I think I think I looked a couple of days ago and it's just shy of like 100 or something. And at any given session, we could have anywhere from, 15 to kind of depends on our guest, 100 or 150 people even that sign up for it and show up. But my pitch to it is, if you are interested in learning more about the industry or connecting more with people, you should definitely join YPN. We have amazing speakers who have championed a lot of young professionals and pushed them forward and taught us a lot about what we know. And, when you join, you get the opportunity to meet some of those great people who can help, advance your career beyond what you even thought possible. So, if you're really passionate and really interested in, where you can take this amazing work that we do, I would definitely join in and get to know all of the people that are going to rise up around you and with you. So,
oh yeah, we got to get that email list up to like 1,000.
Yeah,
I think we can do
Please
it.
do.
We're going to help. Okay. So what's your sales pitch? Well, before I get to that, what are kind of how do you get involved? What are the requirements? Is there any cost associated? What are the kind of nuts and bolts of that? Like say somebody wants to join, what are the steps?
Good question. Yeah. So, as long as you're a member of the National Parks and Recreation Association, NRPA, you can join YPN for free. It doesn't cost any additional to do that. So it's really supposed to be for NRPA members. In terms of like joining our weekly calls, it's also free. And like joining into our network, getting our emails, getting our updates, getting people's contact information while you're there. All of that is free as well. We always welcome and encourage new professionals to join in, even if you're a little bit over our like unofficial, official age limit. So to be a leadership team, we prefer under the age of 35. That's kind of like our cutoff for young professionals. But we always encourage, everybody of all ages to join and listen in on our calls. One of our biggest champions, Chad Norton, is.
Oh yeah. He was my first guest.
He is constantly on our calls. And that man is passionate passionate about us, what we do in the industry. And so, we want everybody and all the people to come in and just make it as big and as powerful as it can be.
Yeah, fantastic. And what are the time commitments? Let's just say you're not in leadership, but you were to attend everything that YPN has to offer. It's like a once a month hour call.
Yeah, once a month hour call, and then we've got this the other one that I mentioned, Rec Club, happening, which is the less official, more meet with people, talk to some people, maybe workshop some things, and that's a couple of months throughout the year. So I would say anywhere from 12 to 20 hours throughout the whole year would be your if you attended most of the stuff that we put on, but you can always expand that by growing and helping and talking and all of those things. So
yeah. And you could listen to the weekly show, the Young Professionals show on Thursdays, and then come in as a guest.
Yep.
So many opportunities. And this is where you really do grow as a leader, when you just kind of volunteer. I think volunteerism is just a huge, and it's so healthy in the Parks and Rec community. But I think you should just double down on volunteering for stuff if you want to, gain a bunch of skills, lots of great connections. Yeah. All right. Well,
volunteering is great. I love it.
Yeah. Well, Eric, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Thank you for helping me finish off the year. Any plans for celebrating New Year tonight?
Yeah. My wife and I are going to host some friends over. We're going to watch the ball drop on the East Coast time so that we can all get to bed at a reasonable time, because most of us have young children. So
fantastic. Well, congratulations on being a new daddy.
Thank you.
We need a lot more new daddies. So if you're out there and you're in the market to become a daddy, go for it. We need more babies. But yeah, I really appreciate all the work that you're doing. Thank you for volunteering, for being in the YPN chair, and honestly, let me know anything we can do to help promote what the work y'all are doing. We really want to help grow the YPN network. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, we'll be in touch. Thank you, Craig. This was great.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, have a great rest of your year, and I'll see you next year.
Sounds good. Thank you. You too.
Yeah, take care.
Bye.
All right. So that was our final show, 389 shows for the year of 2025 with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. I really tried hard to hit that 400 mark. I thought we were going to get it, but we just had some other stuff come up, but we got close. That'll be one of our goals next year. Actually, I think next year we're probably going to crush 800, because now we have all these other hosts that are hosting great shows. Shout out to John Prue. I saw he gave us a thumbs up here. Hopefully he's listening. We have a show that we're launching with John Prue called On the Front Line, the Military Rec Show, every Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. And John is just bringing in some of the best guests about, and we talk all about MWR, which is Parks and Rec essentially on military bases. And it's just going to be a great show. It's going to be a weekly show, and we've got some really big guests coming up to talk about that. A lot of great stuff happening. And then with the help of Outdoor Link, we are launching a smart city show. And so basically, I think we're going to call it Smart Parks. And it's just going to talk a lot about the technology and all the efficiency gains when it comes to how do we make our parks smarter and more efficient, and leverage and use this technology and Internet of Things and robotics and everything else in software. So I think that's going to be a cool show. And then, of course, we're going to continue to push hard on the YPN, which is now Thursdays, 5 p.m. So don't miss that. We're not going to have it tomorrow, but after that, every Thursday, hosted by our very talented interns, Aiden Tierney and Michael Moreau, along with a lot of other great things that we're hosting. I had a great conversation yesterday also. It looks like it's back on the table. We're going to do an esports weekly show. I don't know when it's going to launch, but I've got some really good esports people in Parks and Rec that are tripling down on that. So, and that's kind of what we were looking for. So be looking for that, along with some other shows that we're looking. Of course, we'll keep doing the leadership series. Huge shout out to Aaron Locks. He has been running the Youth Sports Mastery Show every Thursday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. And I cannot believe the quality of guests and coaches and referees that he brings in across the country. This man is so networked in youth sports. He's been doing it for 40 years. He seems to know everyone in youth sports. So check that out. That's going to keep going. And then, of course, we're launching our facilities maintenance show. We've got Jordan Ziff with Her Sports launching the Athletes Commute. It's where she goes back behind the scenes and takes car rides with professional female athletes, and they talk about what they do to prepare for games and practices and what it's like to be a female pro athlete. And so, and don't forget about our newsletter. So we launched our newsletter. Gosh, has it been 4 or 5 months now? So that's exploding. And we're getting some crazy good articles from across the country, all about Parks and Rec. So it's been a great year. This was our first full year of launching DPRS Media Network now with the Daily Parks and Rec show. And thank you for all the love and support this year. Could not have done it without y'all. Shout out to Jonathan Skinner. Great guest. Shout out to Sevi Ghosh, another great contributor. And everybody that came on the show, 389 guests. I think I spoke to about 1,200 people this year, all about Parks and Rec. And I was just blown away by the quality of leaders and individuals that put their heart and soul into nurturing their communities, building communities. And I just can't think of a better group of people to serve. So it's been an honor to serve y'all in 2025. 2026 is going to be an even bigger, better year. And then shout out to all of our very talented video editors. Shout out to Sherry. Shout out to Chris and Eunice and Kathleen. And who am I leaving out? Suzanne Diaz. Gosh, I should have made a list. Matter of fact, maybe that's what I'll do. For the first show, I'll just make a list of all the contributors and everybody that's helped out. It's just been amazing how many people have been helping us to build this thing. And I think 2026 is just going to be a great year. So appreciate all the love and support. Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a great and happy new year. Love you guys. Y'all take care. Thanks a lot. Bye.
They say it's just rec. Just rec, where kids learn to try again. Just rec, where confidence begins. Where teamwork, effort, and fun matter more than trophies. It's not about perfection. It's about participation. It's not just rec. It's where kids learn to love the game and themselves. It's just rec until they learn teamwork for life. It's just rec, but it's everything to them. It's more than rec. It's a movement. It's just rec until you realize it's shaping the next generation. Together, we're not just running programs. We're building a culture of confidence, connection, and community. Join us.
Welcome to DPRS Media Co., the first media company built for the people behind the Parks and Rec community. We don't just cover on Parks and Rec, we elevate it. We amplify it, we honor it. At the heart of everything we do is one mission: to serve the public servants, the professionals who design, maintain, and lead the parks that shape our communities. Under the Daily Parks and Rec show, we produce 6 powerful platforms. Leadership in Parks and Rec, a spotlight on directors, superintendents, and visionaries shaping the future of public spaces. Facility maintenance, where the boots hit the ground, a deep dive into the systems, crews, and craftsmanship that keep our parks clean, safe, and beautiful. Young Professionals Network, shining a light on the next generation of Parks and Rec. Students, interns, and mentors sharing how we build a legacy together. Youth Sports Mastery, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics. This series is for coaches, parents, and rec leaders working to make youth sports fun, fair, and meaningful again. The Rec Room, hosted by the passionate leaders of Henry County Parks and Rec. This show brings frontline energy and real-life stories from the field. And the weekly Parks and Rec Post, our official newsletter delivering stories, insights, and community wins every week. We are DPRS Media Co., LLC, a media company with a mission to uplift the professionals who serve every community, every park, every day.